Stop. Before you reach for any product this morning, before you open anything, before you apply anything, I need to tell you something about your skincare routine that the industry will never tell you directly. Because the industry makes money from products. And what I am about to walk you through costs nothing. Not one step on this list requires purchasing anything. Not one requires a new product, a new brand, a new formula, a new appointment. Every single one of these is a change in habit, a change in timing, a change in awareness, and every single one of them can change what your skin looks like in ways that most products cannot match. And I want to name something before we begin that I think changes how you will hear everything that follows. The skincare industry is designed primarily around the concept of adding a new product, a new ingredient, a new step, a new technology. And some of those products are genuinely useful. But after 60, the gap between what most women's skin needs and what most women's skin is getting is not primarily a product gap. It is a habit gap. It is the absence of specific, consistent, low-cost steps that address the changed biology of mature skin, steps that no product can substitute for because they operate on mechanisms that products cannot reach. That is what today is about. And before we begin, one thing worth naming. The skin after 60 has changed in very specific and measurable ways: less natural oil production, significantly less natural moisture retention, slower cell turnover that can take twice as long as it did at 20, reduced collagen production, and thinner overall skin structure throughout. Each of these changes means that the same habits and the same routines that were adequate at 40 are simply not adequate at 60. Not because your skin is worse. Because it has different needs that require different and more specific attention. The steps on this list are not about adding complexity or expense to your routine. They are about addressing those specific changed needs in the simplest and most direct way available. In the next few minutes, I am going to walk you through 6 specific skincare steps that most women over 60 are skipping entirely, not because they are lazy or uninformed or not trying, but because nobody has explained clearly and directly why these specific steps matter so much more after 60 than they ever did before. And the number one on this list, the one I am saving for the very end, is the one that most dermatologists consider the single most important thing a woman over 60 can do for her skin. And it is still being skipped by the majority of the women who most need it. Stay with me all the way through. Let us count down. Step number 6, sleeping position. And this is the one that most women have genuinely never been told about in any direct or practical way. Step number 6 is protecting your skin from the wrinkles that form while you sleep. Here is something that happens every single night that most women over 60 have genuinely never been told about. Here is what actually happens when you sleep on your side or your stomach on a standard pillowcase. The fabric of the pillow presses against the skin of the face and neck for 7 or 8 hours. The weight of the head compresses the skin against the pillow in patterns that correspond to the sleep position: lines along the cheek, creases at the side of the eye, compression at the jaw and neck. At 25, the skin's elasticity means these lines resolve within minutes of waking. After 60, when the skin's elasticity and collagen structure have changed, these lines resolve more slowly, and over years of the same sleep position, they become increasingly permanent. These are called sleep lines, and they are one of the most consistent and least discussed causes of facial creasing after 60. The fix has 2 parts. The first is easier than you might expect: a silk or satin pillowcase. The difference between a cotton pillowcase and a silk pillowcase for a sleeping face is the difference between friction and slip. Cotton grips the skin as you turn in the night, dragging it against the fabric and deepening the compression lines. Silk allows the skin to move across the pillow surface without resistance, which dramatically reduces the pressure fold effect. This is not an expensive solution. Basic Silk Effect satin pillowcases are widely available for a few pounds or dollars, and it is one of the most consistently impactful passive changes a woman over 60 can make. You sleep anyway. The pillowcase is already there. All you are changing is the fabric. The second part is sleep position awareness. Sleeping on your back eliminates face-to-pillow contact almost entirely and is the gold standard for preventing sleep lines. If you have been a side sleeper for decades, The transition to back sleeping feels uncomfortable at first. This is normal and it does adjust over time. Many women find that placing a rolled towel or bolster pillow on either side of the body helps them stay on their back through the night, at least until the habit becomes established. If you are a committed side sleeper and back sleeping is genuinely not accessible to you, prioritize the silk pillowcase and consider a contoured or memory foam pillow that distributes head weight more evenly and reduces the depth of the compression against the cheek. One more thing about sleep and skin that most women over 60 have never been told directly. The position of the neck during sleep matters as much as the position of the face. When the chin is tucked toward the chest during sleep, which happens naturally when lying on a standard pillow that is too thick, the skin at the front of the neck is in constant compression for 7 or 8 hours. Over years, this contributes significantly to the horizontal necklines that most women notice developing in their 60s. A pillow at the correct height for your sleeping position, one that keeps the head roughly in line with the spine rather than pushing it forward, reduces this compression dramatically. And again, back sleeping eliminates it entirely. Before step number 5, the number 1 is still waiting. And I want to remind you that it is worth staying for, because the number 1 is not dramatic or complex. It is the simplest thing on this list. And it is the most skipped. Step number 5 is one that most women have never done deliberately, and it changes the entire relationship between a woman and her skincare routine once she starts doing it consistently. Step number 5, skin check in natural light. Stop doing your skincare exclusively in bathroom light. Here is the specific problem with bathroom lighting and mature skin. Most bathroom lights are positioned above the mirror, either a single overhead fixture or a strip of lights across the top. Light falling from directly above creates the least flattering and most inaccurate representation of the skin's surface, because it produces deep shadow in the hollows of the face while flattening the areas it does illuminate. A woman standing under overhead bathroom light and looking in the mirror is seeing a version of her skin that is simultaneously overshadowed in some places and overlit in others, not the honest picture that natural light provides. More specifically for skincare purposes, bathroom overhead light obscures fine texture changes, subtle dryness, early discoloration, and the specific areas where product is not absorbing correctly, precisely the things that a mature skin routine needs to monitor. A woman applying her moisturizer in bathroom light may believe the product is absorbing evenly across the face and neck when it is sitting on certain drier patches and absorbing well in others. She simply cannot see the difference in that light. The fix is to check your skin in natural light, ideally from a window, at least a few times a week. Not necessarily as part of the daily routine, but as a regular honest assessment of what your skin actually looks like and how it is responding to your current routine. Stand near a window in morning light, without any product on the face, and look at the skin honestly for 30 seconds. You will see things that bathroom light hides: dry patches, texture changes, the specific areas that need more attention. Here is one more specific thing about natural light assessment that makes it even more useful. When you do your natural light check, pay particular attention to the nasolabial folds, the lines from the nose to the corners of the mouth, and the area directly under the eyes. These two zones are where dehydration and poor moisture retention show first and most clearly on mature skin, and they are almost impossible to assess accurately in bathroom light. If either of these areas looks particularly creased, tight, or textured in natural light, it is usually a signal that the skin needs more moisture retention rather than more product. This natural light check costs nothing and takes 30 seconds, and should be a regular part of how you monitor your skin. Now, step number 4 is one that almost everyone has heard of in some form, but almost nobody is doing correctly for their own face. And done correctly, it is one of the most rejuvenating things a woman over 60 can do with her hands and 2 minutes of time each morning. Step number 4, light massage. Start giving your face and neck a brief daily massage. Here is what daily facial massage does for skin after 60 that products cannot replicate. The skin's lymphatic drainage system, the network responsible for removing fluid, waste products, and cellular debris from the face, relies almost entirely on muscle movement and manual stimulation to function correctly. In younger decades, The natural animation of facial expression and the general density of the surrounding tissue kept this system moving adequately without deliberate intervention. After 60, when the surrounding tissue has changed and the skin is thinner and less active, the lymphatic drainage in the face often becomes sluggish, leading to a subtle but consistent puffiness in the lower face and under the eyes, and a dullness in the skin tone that no cream can address, because it is a circulation issue rather than a product issue. A 2-minute morning massage changes this. The technique is simple. Using the flat of the fingers or the knuckles, apply gentle upward and outward pressure across the face, starting from the center of the chin and moving outward to the ear, then from the corner of the nose outward to the temple, then from the inner eye outward to the temple. Then sweep gently down the neck from the jaw to the collarbone, directing the fluid toward the lymph nodes at the base of the neck. This direction of movement, outward and downward toward the drainage points, helps move stagnant fluid and stimulates circulation in a way that makes the skin look brighter, less puffy, and more alive within minutes. Apply this massage after your serum or moisturizer. The product provides the slip needed to move across the skin without dragging. 2 minutes. No tools required. The hands are enough. One practical note on the massage technique that makes it significantly more effective. The pressure should be lighter than most people expect. A firm touch is not more effective than a gentle one when it comes to lymphatic drainage, because the lymph vessels sit just beneath the skin surface and respond to light pressure rather than deep pressure. Think of it as gentle persuasion rather than massage in the traditional sense. If the skin is moving at all under your fingers rather than the fingers moving across the skin, the pressure is too light. If you can feel the underlying muscle, the pressure is too deep. The correct pressure is somewhere between the two, enough to feel the skin moving with your fingers, not enough to engage the deeper tissue. Halfway through and the number 1 is still waiting. Step number 3 is the one that most women are doing, but not in the way that makes it work. And this is a timing and layering issue, not a product issue. Step number 3, NEM lockup timing. Stop applying your moisturizer to dry skin. Here is the specific mechanism that makes this step so important after 60. Moisturizer does not create moisture. It retains it. The job of a moisturizer is to form a barrier on the skin's surface that traps the water that is already there and prevents it from evaporating. When moisturizer is applied to dry skin, skin that has been left exposed to air after cleansing for more than a minute or two, there is very little water in the skin for the moisturizer to trap. The moisturizer sits on the skin surface, provides a temporary sensation of smoothness, and gives the impression of hydration without actually delivering lasting moisture retention. The fix is timing. After cleansing, after applying any serum or treatment, apply your moisturizer while the skin is still slightly damp, within 60 seconds of a water-based step if possible. The moisture already present in or on the skin is what the moisturizer seals in. On very dry skin, or in particularly dry weather, a technique called the sandwich method can be used. Apply a thin layer of moisturizer to damp skin, then a few drops of a lightweight facial oil on top of the moisturizer. The oil forms an additional barrier over the moisturizer, significantly increasing the moisture-locking effect. Both of these products, the moisturizer and the oil, are almost certainly already in your bathroom or available for very little cost. What changes is not the products. What changes is the sequence and the timing. 2 steps left. The number 1 is still waiting. Step number 2 is the one that most women say they know about, and then do not do. And the evidence is written on the neck of almost every woman over 60 who is otherwise diligent about her face. Step number 2, neck and decolletage. Stop ending your skincare routine at your jawline. Here is the simplest way to understand this step. Look at a woman's face and then look at her neck. If the face and the neck are clearly different in texture, color, and apparent age, if the neck looks significantly older than the face, it is almost always because the face has been receiving decades of care and the neck has been receiving very little. The skincare ends at the jawline. The neck and décolleté age at their own pace, and cared for, and by the time the difference becomes visible it is many years in the making. Here is what makes the neck and décolleté specifically vulnerable after 60. The skin of the neck is thinner than the skin of the face to begin with, has fewer sebaceous glands producing natural oil, and is exposed to the same sun, pollution, and environmental stress as the face, often without any protection. The neck also moves constantly throughout the day, creating compression creases at the base and sides that worsen with time when the skin lacks the suppleness that regular moisturizing would provide. And the décolleté receives direct sunlight for far more of the year than we tend to register. Every time we wear anything open at the chest, in any season where direct light reaches it. The fix is the simplest on this entire list. Take everything you apply to your face, the cleanser, the serum, the moisturizer, the SPF, and extend it to the neck and décolleté every single time. Not sometimes. Every time. One more detail about the neck specifically that changes how you care for it. The neck should be treated with upward strokes when applying products, moving from the collarbone upward toward the jaw, to counteract the downward pull of gravity, and to support the skin rather than stretching it further downward. This is the opposite direction from how most people instinctively apply product to the neck, which is downward strokes that match the downward direction of washing. Change the direction of application to upward on the neck, and you are working with the skin rather than against it every time you apply product. The products are already there. The habit is the only thing that needs to change. And now, the number one. The step that dermatologists and skincare scientists consistently rank as the single most impactful thing a person can do for their skin at any age, and most especially after 60. Step number 1. Sun protection. Stop skipping SPF on the days you think you do not need it. Here is what most women over 60 understand about sun protection. You put it on in summer, on sunny days, when you are going to be outdoors for an extended period. And here is what most dermatologists know about UV radiation that most women have never been told clearly. UVA radiation, the type that causes the deepest and most permanent skin aging, penetrates clouds. It penetrates glass. It penetrates the windows of your home, your car, and every room you sit in near a window. UVA radiation is present at measurable and damaging levels on overcast days in winter and in any indoor environment with window exposure. And it does not cause the sunburn that provides the feedback signal that makes most people apply SPF in the first place. It simply ages the skin, silently and continuously, without any visible warning in the moment. Here is the specific damage UVA causes to skin after 60. It breaks down the collagen and elastin fibers in the dermis, the deeper layer of the skin, causing the skin to lose its structure, its bounce, and its ability to return to its resting shape after movement. It causes the hyperpigmentation, the dark spots, the uneven tone, that most women over 60 notice increasing year by year regardless of their skincare routine. And it thins the already thinning skin of the mature face at a rate that no topical product can reverse. All of this happens through windows. All of this happens on cloudy days. All of this happens while you are indoors, sitting near the light you depend on and never think to protect yourself from. Here is the practical detail that removes every excuse for skipping SPF on indoor or overcast days. A moisturizer with SPF 30 or higher provides adequate protection for the UVA exposure that occurs through windows and on overcast days. You do not need a separate sunscreen product. You do not need to apply a thick white formula. Most modern moisturizers with SPF are indistinguishable in texture and feel from those without it. The one thing to check is that the SPF is broad spectrum, meaning it protects against both UVA and UVB rather than just UVB, which is what most traditional sunscreens were formulated to address. Broad spectrum SPF 30 or higher, in a moisturizer you apply anyway, every morning without exception. That is the entire fix. The fix is not complex. SPF, every morning, as the last step of your skincare routine before makeup or before you leave your bedroom. It does not need to be a separate product. Many moisturizers and primers contain adequate SPF for daily indoor and incidental outdoor exposure. It does not need to be reapplied indoors if you are not sweating or spending extended time in direct sunlight through glass. It simply needs to be there, every morning, every day of the year, regardless of the weather and regardless of your plans. This one habit change applied consistently from today, is the single most impactful free skincare step available to a woman over 60. Because it does not undo damage. It prevents it. And prevention, at 60, is worth every year of products and treatments that try to repair what consistent SPF would simply have never allowed to happen. Before we close, here is the principle that holds every step on this list together. Skincare after 60 is not about adding more products or building an increasingly complicated routine. It is about understanding what the skin specifically needs at this particular stage of life and providing it consistently and deliberately, not occasionally and by habit. The pillowcase costs almost nothing and lasts for years. The natural light check costs nothing and takes 30 seconds. The massage costs nothing and takes 2 minutes. The timing adjustment for your moisturizer costs nothing. Extending your routine to the neck costs nothing and adds 20 seconds. An SPF, used daily in a moisturizer you are probably already buying, costs almost nothing when considered against the decades of damage it prevents, and the years of expensive treatments trying to reverse that damage it makes unnecessary. Before you pick your one step, I want to say something about what these 6 steps have in common. Every one of them is free or nearly free. Every one of them requires minutes, not hours. Every one of them produces results that most products cannot match because they are addressing the actual changed needs of skin after 60 rather than the surface symptoms of those needs. The industry sells products. These steps address the underlying mechanisms. And underlying mechanisms, when addressed directly and consistently, change the skin in ways that surface products can support, but rarely drive. Pick one step from this list. The one that you have been skipping without realizing how much it matters. Start tomorrow. Come back and tell me what you noticed in the first week. Tell me if the natural light check showed you something you had not seen. Tell me if the timing change in your moisturizer made a difference by the end of the first week. Tell me if anyone said anything about your skin. I read every single comment that comes in on this channel, and I genuinely mean every word of that. If this helped you today, share it with one woman you know who cares about her skin, but feels like she is doing everything right and still not seeing the results she should be seeing. She will understand immediately why you sent it. And if you are not yet subscribed, do it now. Because next week I am covering the 6 skincare products that most women over 60 are using incorrectly, not the wrong products, just the wrong application, the wrong amount, or the wrong order, and the specific corrections that make each one work the way it was actually designed to. Every correction is free. You will not want to miss that one. Tell me below, which of these 6 steps were you skipping without realizing what it was costing your skin, and which one you are starting tomorrow.